Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, name 895, Loka-adhishthanam, the support of all the worlds. So, adhishthanam. This gives the idea, the adhisthana means the support. Adhi as a prefix means principal, chief, supreme. Loka in this context is understood to mean all the worlds. So Loka-adhishthanam means the principal support for all the worlds. Sri Parashara Bhatta explains this name, as he has done in the last so many names, with respect to the Supreme Lord facilitating the arrival of the soul becoming liberated from the material world, the arrival of the soul in Vaikuntha. And now Parashara Bhatta is explaining the current series of names in terms of the liberated souls who have reached Vaikuntha. And that world, the Vaikuntha world, here Parashara Bhatta takes Loka specifically to mean the Vaikuntha world. So he is the support of that world. He's not only the chief person in that world, but he also supports the Vaikuntha world and everything within it. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who has largely been following Sri Parashara Bhatta in explaining the present series of names, say that he is named Loka-adhishthanam because he is eternally the shelter. Here, adhishthan he takes to mean shelter of devotees. Here he takes devotees. Here he takes Loka to mean the devotees. So it's very similar to what Parashara Bhatta says, but it's somewhat different also. That Baladev Vidyabhushan says he is the final resting place and abode for those who have reached the end of their journey, which is back home, back to Godhead, back to him. And Parashara Bhatta says that he, Vishnu, is the support of the world that the liberated souls reach to. V.V. Ramanujan, a sub-commentator on Parashara Bhatta's commentary, refers in this regard to Tiruvayamoli, that he, Vishnu, gives mundane prosperity to devotees who may want that. Then he takes us, the devotees, to Vaikuntha and says, this is your abode, take it. Then we become as if on the platform of completely welcome, as if we are owners, as if we completely belong there in Vaikuntha. Shankaracharya gives the understanding of the three worlds, referring the material world, rest in him, although he himself needs no support. Radha Krishna Shastri, who is a sub-commentator on Shankara, notes that Vishnu is the support of these worlds, and of course Shankara doesn't believe, or doesn't in his philosophy teach about the Vaikuntha worlds as being eternal worlds. But Radha Krishna Shastri notes that for the material worlds, Vishnu in the forms of Kurma, Varaha, and Adi Shesha supports the world. In the form of Kurma, the tortoise, we find in the ancient iconography and still at the Sri Krishna temple in Udupi the depiction of the universe, and it's supported by Kurma Dev, the tortoise. Now many traditions throughout the world have this understanding. The world is supported by turtles or tortoises. They don't understand that it's Vishnu. There's some kind of a sarcastic joke by skeptics. Well, who's holding up the tortoise? Well, another tortoise. And who's holding up that tortoise? Another tortoise. And what's below that? Well, it's turtles all the way down. But no, he himself is the ultimate support. He doesn't need anyone to support himself. Under the aphorism, Vedanta Sutra 1.3.10, Om Aksharam Anvarantadhute, Madhvacharya equates the Madhvacharya takes Akshara here to mean Narayana. Perfectly justified. And by supplying shastric evidence, Madhvacharya shows that all the worlds are supported by Mahalakshmi, and that Sri Vishnu is the ultimate and final support for her. Madhvacharya elsewhere quotes from Skanda Purana, Pritvidyadi prakritam tang bhutang bhavyam bhavachayat Vishnor eko vibhutading nanyas tasmat kshamodritau. From the earth, from this earth planet, from this mundane material nature, considering, and then going up above that, considering the spiritual nature, the conscious nature, up to the supreme Mahalakshmi. The support is given only by Vishnu, and no one else is capable of doing that work. In this regard, we can quote from Bhagavad Gita, Aparayam itastvanyang prakriting vidhi me param jiva bhutang mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Krishna here, contrasting the spiritual nature with the mundane material nature, says it's this spiritual nature that maintains all the worlds, that is superior to the mundane. It's not that the matter itself sustains the world, but the matter is sustained by spirit in the form of all the jivas, and that is Krishna's superior energy compared to the material energy. But even though the jivas in one sense support the world, because it is because of the jivas that this mundane world exists, so they support the jagat, the mundane world, but Krishna supports them. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12. Yama uvacha paro madanyo jagatas tastu shascha otang protang partavadyatra vishvam yad angshato syastiti janmana sha nasyota vadyasya vashe chalokaha. Srila Prabhupada's translation. Yamaraj speaking to the Yamadutas, my dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all the demigods, all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of a woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose. Here we have the Otavad, which gives the Otang Protam. This is a common statement we'll find in Bhagavatam and elsewhere, that the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of a woven cloth. If we see woven cloth, some cloths are going this way and some that way, and they intertwine to make a strong cloth. So the Supreme Lord is the support of all the worlds, Otam Protam, inasmuch as he is intricately linked with everything, and another way he is the material cause, inasmuch as he supplies all the ingredients for the material universes, and they are non-different from him inasmuch as they emanate from him, are maintained by him, and ultimately enter into him. Then another example that Yamaraj gives is that the entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose. Another common example. So in two ways he supports the universe. We're going through the name Loka-adhishthanam, how Vishnu is the support of the universe. He's the support of the universe inasmuch as the materials of the universe are emanating from him, supported and maintained by him, and in one sense are non-different from him. And he controls everything. Even though the mighty material nature may be very difficult to control, but one who is expert can control a raging bull if he knows how to, by controlling the rope in the nose of the bull. In the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada quotes from Srila Madhvacharya. Srila Madhvacharya explains that the words Otam Protam refer to the cause of all causes. The Supreme Lord is both vertical and horizontal to the cosmic manifestation. This is confirmed by the following verse from the Skanda Purana. Yata Kanta Patha Sutra Otaf Protascha Sa Stitaha Evang Vishna Vidang Vishvam Otang Protang Cha Sangstitam. Like the two threads, horizontal and vertical, of which a quilt is manufactured, Lord Vishnu is situated as the vertical and horizontal cause of the cosmic manifestation. More Ota-Prota verses we can find in the Bhagavatam. Here's another one from Canto 10, chapter 15, text 35, in which Shukadeva Goswami addresses Parikshit Maharaj regarding Balaram's killing of the terrible demon Denuka. Naichats chitrang bhagavati hyanante jagadishvare otang protam idam yasmings tantush vanga yata pataha. My dear Parikshit, that Lord Balaram killed Denukasura is not such a wonderful thing, considering that he is the unlimited personality of Godhead, the controller of the entire universe. Indeed, the entire cosmos rests upon him just as a woven cloth rests upon its own horizontal and vertical threads. Everything rests upon him. Mataparataram nanat kinchirasti dhananjaya. Mai sarvamidang protam sutre manigana eva. Krishna says, there is no truth superior to me. Nothing is equal to me, nothing superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So the pearls on a thread, we don't see the thread, but the thread is absolutely required for the pearls to remain in their place. So in the same way, we may not see God, but we understand he must be there. Otherwise, how can everything be held together? We find at the end of the 10th chapter of Gita, after Krishna describes so many wonderful things within the material manifestation, which are indicative of him, representatives of him, his vibhutis is the technical term. Krishna says, Athava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idang kritsnam ekangshena sthito jagat. What need is there, Arjuna, of all this detailed knowledge because with a single fragment of myself I pervade and support this entire universe. If we think about this, we think the scientists are trying to find out. There's so much knowledge of all the details of how everything goes on, but they can just consider this one verse from Bhagavad Gita. We don't need all this detailed knowledge. We'll never understand everything. Even if we think that our scientific knowledge is so much more advanced than it was previously, we're still far, 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 multiply that a few thousand times, from understanding everything. Nor is it possible for us to understand everything about this material world. Simply not possible. But we can simply understand, as Krishna said, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything, Krishna says. Everything comes from me. Okay, understood that? Then, iti matva bhajante mang buddha bhava samamvita. Those who know this, those who perfectly know this point, we don't have to know all the details, but we can understand Krishna is the source of everything. And then, what is the result of knowing that? They worship Krishna with love, with all their hearts. This is actual intelligence. To try to understand everything and think that we know so much and therefore know God. It's actually foolishness. What need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. And there are so many references throughout the Bhagavatam, how Krishna is the support of everything. Everything depends upon Krishna. It's very good to study Srimad Bhagavatam. You'll find again and again and again in different verses from somewhat different angles and perspectives and in different contexts how Krishna supports everything. He's the support of all the worlds. He's the support of all the devotees. These points come repeatedly even here in Vishnu Sahasranama. We had early in Vishnu Sahasranama Dhata, which can be understood in the same way also, Loka-adhishthanam. He is the support, the resting place, and the shelter of all the worlds and of all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dante nitaya chunakam padayoni patikridvacha karkushatam etad aham bravimi. Hey sadhava sakala eva vihaya durad gauranga chandra charne gurutanurava. Parivadatu jano yata tata va nanumokaro navayang vicharayamaha. Hari rasa madira madati matta bhuvi vilutama nartama nirvishama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.